available in the FTP server for local installation to download it as well. So it is in the coming Sunday that we are starting to install the May release. So in this session, I will show you really a few of the new features, some fixes that we are adding to this release. And then we will go and see some of the new things that we are having for the new UI. And last but not least, Christine Stohn will present the citation trail. And let's start with the Primo Analytics. So for the Primo Analytics, what I'm going to show you today, not everything that is part of May release is going to be available in the OBI in the Primo Analytics already in May. The idea is that, as we told before, the OBI is the same infrastructure as Alma Analytics. So the OBI can be refreshed. We can create new reports, new subject area on monthly releases, same as Alma releases. But to collect the data, this has to be part of Primo releases, obviously, because we are adding more code to Primo to collect the data. So with May release, we are collecting two new attributes. One of them is the referrer. The referrer is actually the information about how, where the user is coming from. Does he coming from the library homepage? Maybe if you're using the Primo sitemap and he's coming from Google, maybe you are having any links in Facebook or any other social medias and they are coming from there. And this information is going to be collected starting May. And then in July, Alma release, we are going to add information to the Primo Analytics. So we are starting to collect the data from May. You'll have the available information from May, but the reports will include this data from July, from the beginning of July. The second attribute we are adding is the user group. We don't have any personal information in Primo Analytics, and this is the user group is going to be the only information that can give you maybe some more information about the type of user that the usage is coming from. So by default, it's opt-out, meaning we are not collecting this information. Institutions that want to send this information of the user group need to opt in, meaning we have a mapping table that they need to add a new line to it, saying that they want to send the information. All the information is obviously available in the highlight document, so you can find exactly the mapping table and what needs to be done in order to send this information. The user group information is same as the referrer, is going to be available with July release. Sorry, I'll just hide it from you. The next thing we did for the OBI, for Primo Analytics, this is coming actually from the IDs, from the Ex Libris IDs exchange. It was voted a lot to add the OBI APIs. Again, since this is the same infrastructure as Alma, so for Alma customers that are familiar with the Alma Analytics API, this is really the same what we are sharing now with Primo. So we are adding the APIs. You can get all the information of the reports that either you created or the out-of-the-box Primo reports that we are creating or the community reports, and you can get all the information in an XML format. In order to do it, we share the information and the full documentation in the developers network. You have exactly the structure of the request, and it is same as any other API that you wish to use, meaning you need to have user password to the developers network. If you don't have one already, then you just need to ask support to open a Salesforce case, and you'll get user and password for the developers network. And then you need to create an API key. The API key is per service, per API that you are using for Primo or for Alma. And once you have it, you can use the APIs. Currently, there is maximum lines of 65,000 lines. In July, we are going to upgrade the Oracle Business Intelligence, the OBI, and then we are going to have 200,000 lines for each report available. I'll just go quickly to show you the documentation that we have for it. And again, it's available in the Knowledge Center, but actually the right place for it is in the developers network, because we believe and we know that those are the people that are going actually to use those API. You need to code in order to use them. So you have all the information that is needed for all the APIs. You need the API key, what you got once you are registered yourself to use this service. You need the path to the report, filter, limit, and token. It's very easy to use. It's not as readable as the report, obviously. It's an XML with more information than what is presented, but it's very easy to use. Now, okay. So this is for the Primo Analytics. The next thing we are adding in May is support for IP version 6. IP version 6 is in order to enlarge the range of the IPs that exist. We now have 6-part IP. It's a hexadecimal, and we have colons instead of the dots between the different parts. What it actually means for you is that in case that you are using version 6 IPs, then you can now just work with them also in the Primo configuration, meaning you can put those IPs, those 6-part IPs in the web services and X services IP filters, for example, the mapping table, in the institution IPs that you configured in Primo. Everywhere you can put the version 6 IPs as you have it. You don't need to do any configuration in order to have it. It is just there if you need it for. Obviously, we are still supporting the IP version 4, so you don't need to change. Not everything needs to be in the same IP versions. You can have part of the IPs IPv4 and part of them IPv6. So you don't need to do anything, but it's there for you. The next thing we are adding is the sort ascending. I know that a lot of institutions already have created their own sort ascending by date. They use the local sort fields, and part of taking a configuration that were in the installation level and changing them to be for institution level, we found that all those that use the local sort fields, I guess you can say easily 98% of the use of the sort fields was in order to add the date oldest option. So we decided just to add the options, this option out of the box. This is configurable per view. So if you're going to create new view, it's going to be enabled automatically. You're just going to have the sort descending and sort ascending in the dropdown. If you have an existing view and you want to add also the date oldest, you just need to go to the view wizard and over there in the sort fields to add date to. There is description that says that this is the sort ascending, and you just need to edit. Obviously, if you already have date oldest that you use by the local sort fields, you don't need to change it. You can use the same as you used before. Another fix that we added in May release, and I just want to highlight it, even though it was a bug for Aleph customers, that when they had a long list, sometimes they got timeout or errors. So in Aleph 22, they added support for bulks of loans, and now in May release, we added pagination for loans. So in case you have long loans, in order to avoid those timeout exceptions, we are now having load more option, and we are getting the data in bulks. So I don't have slides for this, but I just want to mention it anyway because I know that several institutions complained about it, so now it is fixed. For the new UI, in May release, this is still not the general release. This is still not supported version of the interface, but we did a lot of improvement. First, we improved the performance. You'll see a lot of small design fixes, and everything looks much more clean than before. We are also supporting, in the previous version, we supported Chrome only. Now we are supporting Chrome and Firefox. By August, we will support Internet Explorer as well. In May release, beside the fixes and the changes and the improvement, we also added a support for the full page, and same for the service page, which is actually the full page that is coming from with an open URL from Google. We have for Aleph and Voyager, we added the locations and requests. In February, we had the Get It for Alma, and now also for Aleph and for Voyager. We are supporting currently the hold ILL and the recall request. By August, we will support, obviously, all the request types. My library card was improved, and now we have the full services that are available. Main menu is now configurable. In February, we had some in the main menu or the promoted actions, those two actions on the result list. Everything was hard-coded, so now everything is configurable. And we also added for the customization package, and we will add, after May release, we will share the developer's environment, and then we'll be able, and we'll show you and give you more sessions and webinars in order to give you more information about how to customize it with the August release. So now I'll just switch to the demo. And what you're going to see now is actually our demo environment. This is not the mockup anymore, but this is an environment that is updated. It's not the final May version. It's from 3 weeks ago. So there are still some issues over here. But I think that you'll easily see that everything looks much cleaner now. Small changes. Some of the changes that you are seeing now, even things that sometimes it's just something like changing the button, but sometimes it's even things that are more crucial. Then a lot of those things are actually coming from feedback that we got after February release. In February, we released really premature version, but the feedback that we got were very important and really helped us in order to see how the user and how users are understanding the interface. And we did a lot of changes based on those feedbacks. We even have 2 institutions that ran a usability test, and this information was really helpful, and we did some changes even for this May release. So the main things that you'll see in May, one of the most important things is really the availability link, the availability status that is now available in the brief results, both for online records. You can click already from the brief result page, and it's going to open in a new tab the full text itself. And if it's a physical item, then we have the available, and it's also clickable, and clicking on it going to open the full page with the Get It option in front of me. Focus just in the middle of the screen. I'll just sign in, even though okay. So now I'm signed in. You can see this item that is already in my favorites. So I'll take another one. And clicking on it, I can see the request options that are available for me and the locations. Actually, we did some kind of combination between the request and the locations. We saw that a lot of institutions removed the request tab and presented only the locations tab. And we tried to really present both of the options together, both the requests and the locations. And if I click, for example, on hold, you can see that the form is now open instead of the place where I had the locations. And I can obviously go back to the locations, click on specific location, get all the information also from here. And if I have a specific item that I can hold from here, I'll have the link available in the locations as well. And if we're already in this area, I can show you that we did some more changes, starting from the brief display in the top of the page. We added all the actions, and everything is now available and working also from the full page. We added this small navigation bar on the side, because obviously this can be more than just the side of the page, all the services that we have here. And we want to allow the user to be able to understand what option he has in front of him. So I can just go directly to the details or back to the top and see all the services that I have here. If I'll close it, as I mentioned, now the main menu is configurable. So in this example, for example, I took existing view that I have in the Primo demo, and I didn't change any configuration. I just switched to the new interface. And now I have the same links as I had in my main menu. I don't need to change it to again. We changed some buttons. You can see that here we had before this swipe button, and we got feedback from users that it wasn't clear enough for them. This is why now you have the same icon here, and we removed the swipe option. Same here in the expand beyond the result list. We have, those are the promoted actions that you can also configure and make the decision which actions you want to be displayed more prominent to the users already in the brief display and not only in the actions menu. If all the actions are obviously working, we changed a bit the look and feel. You can see the resource type that is now presented on the top of the article. We changed the grouped elements and their links. And I'm sure that in May release, you're going to see much more mature and very close to what you're going to see in August release. If I go now to my favorites, in this release, we added, obviously, all the changes that we saw in the brief results are available also in the favorites. It's the same look and feel based on the same configuration that you did for your basic search results. Everything is now available in the favorites. We added the option to label items, or you can unlabel them. You can filter by specific labels. You can perform actions on bulk, either push to actions, or you can label or unpin bulk of records. So everything is now available in May release. And last thing that I'll show you here is my library card that, as I mentioned, now all the services are available. We have the request that is new. It wasn't available in February. And we have the fines and fees. Also in the overview, now we have the full overview for all the options. We have three loans, 3 requests, and 3 fines and fees that can be presented already in the overview. The user can already renew everything from the overview page. You can see this small icon in the loans, which actually means that I have loans that pass their due date. So I can go and renew again from the overview page. If I'm going to click on the item, then I'm going to directly go to the loans page. But again, I can do the first action. If I'll click on the renewal, it's going to perform the action and then going to present me the loan page with the status of the renewal of all the items. So again, we did a lot of small changes also in things that were available in February release. And I think that you'll see with the coming May, if you're just going and change your URL and see your existing configuration, you'll see very close to August release, to the general release, how things are looks and feel today. We are keep changing things. We are getting more feedbacks, and as long as we are getting feedbacks, we will keep update the environment, the design, sorry. So keep sending us feedbacks for the mailing list that we created, the new UI mailing list. And one last thing before I'm giving Christine the presenters, right? I just want to show you the latest design that we added to the advanced search. This is not going to be in May. This is part of August release. In August release, we are going to release the advanced search, BX recommendations, and the two main themes that we are working on is the accessibility and the mobile support. So those are the things that we are focusing on August release. And now you can see the first design that we have for the advanced search. And you can see two main changes. First is that the user can dynamically add more rows to the advanced search, and also that everything that is going to be searched for the user is available to the user to see how we are going to search for it in the search engine, actually. So he has like a brief display of his search criteria. He can also change them from here. But we want to help them and see and verify that they are actually searching what they want to search, that they are using all the criteria they want to search, and to verify that everything is clear for them. So this is something that we are working now. We are working today on the advanced search, but you still got to see a big look of how it looks like today. So this is it, and now I'm going to give Christine the presenters, right? And again, at the end, we will answer all your questions.
Okay. Thank you, Miri. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. Just 1 second. And Miri, can you just confirm when you see my screen, please?
Yes, Christine, we can see your screen.
Okay, super. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to talk briefly about the citation trail, which is a new exploration service on Primo, and it's part, of course, of the May release. We're releasing this, obviously, on the old UI. I just wanted to emphasize this. It will, of course, also be available in new UI, but we're also making this available in the old UI with the May release. So just first of all, before I show you the service, just a few notes about what we mean with citations. I think most of you probably know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a citation trail, but just to clarify that, because the word citation is really used in different contexts for different things and it's sometimes a little bit confusing. So what we're talking about is the references, or in other words, the citations that are added usually to a scholarly publication like an article. So I'm writing an article, and at the end of the article, I'm listing all the references, all the other works that I use in some way in my article or in my book, in fact. The connection of the article, the seed article as we call it, this is the article where the user is starting from, and the references is quite interesting from various perspectives. First of all, it offers us an exploration tool, and this is really what we're talking about when we're talking about this in Primo. But it also allows us to explore the topic a little bit more that we came from, or that the initial article is about, the seed article is about. So I can see different facets of it by just browsing through the publication that were used by the author. And it's really a nice tool to learn more about the topic, to see the different facets of the topic, but also to collect material that is related to it. And a trail offers the author, the user, the opportunity to go from one to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, without really having to start a new search. So it's just a different way of getting to material, learning about material, and we're talking about exploration and learning here. So let me just switch to our demo environment, because this is already upgraded with the May release. So I'm just going to search for online social content. And as you can see, I'm getting a normal result list, but on the right-hand side, in my result list, I have now entry points to the citation trail. So I have citations. These are the references that I find in a publication, and then we also calculated the cited by. So we created an entire network here. You can go to the citation, but you also can go backwards to the cited by and browse through lists of citations that are related via reference lists. So for example, I click on citations here, and I get a list here. We keep the context of the user by listing or by showing the seed article where the user is coming from on top. So this is just saying item cited by. And then we also have a small disclaimer here, because this is not a full or not necessarily a complete list of citations. We are also not showing any metrics here or any numbers of citations, because we know we don't have a comprehensive picture. This is really purely for exploration. In this case, we have a list of 60 articles, or books or articles, which were cited by this initial seed article. And I can, of course, browse through this list. And I can also go on from here. You can see on the right-hand side, again, some of them only have a cited by, because we don't have a citation list for them. Some of them have both citations and cited by. And I can, of course, go on to the next one and so on. So I can browse from one list to the next list to the next list, see how the topic is changing or what aspects of the topic I find. Maybe I also collect different keywords about my topic on the way. And of course, I can see different material here, and I can do with it whatever I want, put it into my favorites or etc. So this is really all I'm going to show here. So I'm going to switch back to my presentation. The next slides are really screenshots of what I already showed you. This is just a different search. Oops, this is a different search. Here I started from a known item search, but the principle is the same. As you can see, you see the result list, you see on the right-hand side the citations and cited by. We obviously do not have this for every article. The citations that we have at the moment are based on cross-ref data. We are adding other data sources. We already have a few in the pipeline, which are also providing citations. And at the moment, we're just sorting out the deduplication and that sort of thing. So over the next month, we are going to add other data sources here as well. And this is just another example here, what it looks like on the UI. And again, this is a list of citations for a specific article. Just to put it a little bit more in context, exploration and learning is just the second cornerstone, really, of discovery. The first one being search and find, obviously. The second one being exploration and learning. And I personally think that exploration and learning is of equal importance to search and find. Of course, I want to maybe, search a known item, a book that I know about and find it, but I also may just want to explore an area. And not everyone who searches for a topic really knows what this topic is about or all facets of that topic. So what I have here is really not always the straight way or the straight path to get something, but sometimes I just take detours, so to speak, and I can make use by using references, or in the case of CX, by connections via usage data of community knowledge. We already have a few features which fit into this exploration and learning cornerstone, which is, of course, the DX article recommender, and also for books, particularly the virtual browser. Someone can just kind of virtually browse through a bookshelf and see what other books are available in the vicinity of the book where I started my research. And we really talk about serendipitous discovery here, finding things by lucky chance, by exploring things, by finding my entry point and then going on to other things. We have also a small video. It's really just 2 minutes or so on YouTube. So if you want to have a look at it, it just shows one example of a citation trail and how to use it. So maybe that's something also to share with your colleagues or users or anyone else. So this is all I have on the citation trail. maybe I should also add it's automatically going to appear on your interface with the May release. It's automatically switched on. There's no configuration or anything needed. I mean, you can change the labels if you want, but it's really nothing where you need to do any further configuration or anything. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the WebEx session, and then we're going to look at the questions.
Yeah, I see that we have some questions. I will start to go over them. So the first one is actually about in ALMA April 2016 release. You can now publish linked data to Primo. So in May, in the May Primo release, it is not, we didn't change to create out-of-the-box template. So in case you want to use it, you need to use and create your own normalization rules. Further, later this year, I apologize, but I don't remember the date. We are going to add out-of-the-box changes to the template, to the existing template, and then we will create also changes in the interface based on those new information. But in this phase, if you'd like to use the information, you need to manipulate the normalization rules. The second question is, will we be allowed to change the infinite scrolling in the new UI to pagination? So currently, due to accessibility, we are planning to add an option to have a button that will load more results instead of the infinite scrolling. We are still not sure whether we will save it for the user and how it's going to be saved, or whether it's going to be configurable for the institution. In August release, it's not going to be configurable for the institution to change it for the entire view, but this is something that we might reconsider after the August release. Another question, you have mentioned that several options are configurable in the May release. However, the May release notes and May release highlights do not include information about how to customize Primo 5 in May release. Could this info be added? So yes, obviously, all the information will be added. We are not, as I mentioned, also we are still working on providing after May release the developers environment that we are building. So after May release, we will share this information. We will share the option to download the development environment, and we will have a dedicated webinar and documentation to describe how to do the customization for it. So all the information will be available, not tied with the May release, but after the May release. Could you preview the responsive web design of the new site, showing what it might look in mobile and tablet viewports? Yeah, I can share in a second and show you one example. Again, this is something that is part of the August release, the main design for the mobile. But you can see now how the responsiveness of elements, but we still need to make the decision what we want to hide, how we want to open the things, etc. But I'll show it to you in a second. Will it be possible to hide or disable the citation trails through the back office? Christine, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope that you're not going to disable it, but there is actually an option in the back office. It's in the view wizard, so you can just, it's just like a little tick. You can just tick it off, and then it's disabled.
Will there still be a browse functionality in the new UI in addition to simple and advanced search? So in August release, the way you are going to have the browse is actually it's going to open a new tab with the current interface of the browse, and afterwards, I'm almost certain that it's part of November, we will also add new interface for the browse functionality. I saw that we already, Christine, there is another one. Where is the data for the citation and cited by is coming from?
Oh, the citations are coming from Cross-check at the moment. We are planning to add other data sources. We already have some which are providing that data, but they need to be loaded. So this is planned for the next month. But at the moment, it's based on Cross-ref. The cited by is calculated by us based on the citation. So the Cross-ref data, again, is also the basis for that, but we are creating our own network here to based on the citation. And based on the data actually that we have in Primo Central. So we're mapping the data that is coming in as a citation against what we have in Primo Central. It's actually quite complex to do that. This is also why it took us a while to develop that specific service. The citations often come with very minimum metadata and need to be somehow mapped against the citations that we have in, or the data that we have in Primo Central. So it's a bit of a challenge to do that. But yeah, so they're coming from Cross-ref, and we're calculating the cited by based on the citation.
Okay. I see also in the chat, will there be a change in how we build the search box to put on a website? And I think it's coming also in parallel with the question, if we have permanent links being used in LibGuide, for example, will they still work after the upgrade? So I want to say several things about this. You can hear me, right? I'm not sure if I'm muted or not.
No, I can hear you.
Ah, okay.
I hope that everybody else can too.
Okay, so the links for the new interface is different. So permalink that you have today will continue to work with the current interface. I will say in the same sentence that in August release, we are not switching all the interfaces to be with the new interface. Your view is not going to work with the new interface. It's your decision when you want to change the link, and then it's going to work with the new interface. The current interface, we are still supporting it. It is not, we are not just replacing the current interface with the new. So because of this, and because we also wanted to improve the permalinks and all the deep links that we have either for search or for specific records, we did a major change in how it works. So it's not going to be backward compatible. But again, links that you have for the current UI, for example, users that use bookmarks for a specific record, they are going to see it in the current UI. And same for the search box, because it's new deep link. We wanted to fix issues that we had with the current deep links, and we want to provide a better solution. Now I'll also share with you my screen just to show you. Oh, and
do I need to give you a presenter rights? Or?
I think that I can steal it from you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, you did.
So actually what you're, I'm not sure if you can see it. What you're seeing here is just, I'm using Chrome, the developers tool. If you're clicking F12 on Chrome, you can see how different websites looks in mobile. So what you are seeing here is the new interface in mobile display, and you can see that, for example, again, you see that there is much more work that we need to do. But you can see that the facets are not displayed. Clicking on Tweak Your Results is going to open all the facets option from the bottom of the page. You can close it. The full page is totally not designed yet. We have all the main menu information, and it is working here. We have all the main menu now displayed in one list. Both the main menu and the sign in and library card area are now presented in one list. And this is the main thing that we did for the mobile. I'm sorry, but most of the work is going to be done in August. Excuse me. And now I'll see if we have more questions. Second. Yeah, as always, you are really welcome to send any question even after the sessions. We are always happy to answer them. Ah, we have. Sorry, I missed them.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions at the end. Do you want me to read them? Or? Okay.
Yes, maybe you can read them, and I'll.
Okay. So will tab search scope still be an option in the new UI?
Sorry again.
Will tab search scope still be an option in the new UI?
I need to look for it because I didn't hear the beginning. Will tab search? Yeah.
Yeah, the tab.
Yeah. Okay. So we are working. I hope that you saw that in the advanced search, what I saw you in the advanced, we had in the top the option to switch between tabs. It was a radio button to change between the tabs. We are now working on solution at the beginning. We wanted to have only one layer of scopes. We got a lot of feedback for the need to support also the tabs, and we are now working on the solution. I believe it's going to be very soon that we will be able to show and present the solution that will be available in August release. Okay, now I found the question. Could you give us a brief view of the electronic journal A to Z list on the top of Primo screen? Any changes from the current view? So unfortunately, I can't show the A to Z list because again, A to Z and the browse are going to be, this is the same as the browse, is going to open with August release in the current interface in a different tab. And in parallel, we are working on a new design on the A to Z list, but I still don't have anything to show you here. See, for search widgets, will we only need to change the form target, or will other widget elements need to be changed as well? I'm sorry, but I'm not sure which other widget elements you mean. We have the form that you need to change. If you created your own HTML, then what needs to be changed is really the deep link that is created behind the scenes. So if you want to give more information about what other widgets, then I'll be happy to answer. Will current external links to the services page or Alma U Resolver change? So no, you don't need to change your links. If you want to use the new interface for the services page, then it is configuration that you are saying, I want to use the new interface actually. It's a checkbox that you need to add. It exists in the documentation. But you don't need to change the links that you are sharing. When you say the links will change, can you clarify if it's just part of the domain or will the MMS ID change too? Somehow, I'm just wondering if find and replace will work. So what is changed is actually the parameters themselves that are now changed. So there are some mapping that can be created, but it's not trivial to do one change to all, especially because, again, we want to see that we are progressing and going to the new improved URLs. But again, for permalinks, for links that are for specific articles, they can go to the current UI, and we will create kind of best practice that when you are moving to new interface to present a message saying we move to a new interface and with a link to search for the specific record, for example, and then they can save new permalink, okay? So they'll get the interface, the current interface, but we can add messages to the user to say that we are now working with new interface, with improved interface, that they can switch to. I mean elements like the hidden input fields. This is good question. I guess you are using, Ed, maybe I'll take it with you afterward, because maybe you are using the JSP that you can add as a widget. So maybe we can talk about it afterward. I will contact you afterward. Yeah, so this is what you meant, embedded search box. So you can't use the embedded search box, but you'll need to use deep link instead and create a small HTML element with the search box and just sending the deep link. I'm looking for more questions.
Yeah, I think that was all. That's all I'm seeing, Miri.
Yep.
Okay.
So do I. So again, we will share the recording next week. Any questions or feedbacks are always welcome. And thank you very much. And thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Miri.
Bye.